Not to the spams who died. But you deserve a happy ending too.
The latest in what seems like a never-ending line of Walking Dead spin-offs is here, and of course I'm talking about the Daryl Dixon show. So set after the main Walking Dead show has ended after 11 years to, let's say, very mixed seasons and a lot of very mixed spin-offs, such as Fear the Walking Dead World Beyond, Tales of the Walking Dead, and the most recent spin-off, Walking Dead Dead City, aka The Maggie and Negan Show. So if you haven't guessed already, I'm going to be talking about episode 1 of the new Walking Dead show, Daryl Dixon, the general setup, the story, and where I think the season might be going. But before I get into that, as always, I'm Al, this is The Geek in Review, and thanks for taking the time to choose to watch this channel. If you haven't done it already, please subscribe, and if you make it all the way to the end, leave a like as well. So let's get to it. The episode opens with Daryl stranded at sea that we've seen in the trailers that have gone out over the last few months. He washes up on shore without a crossbow, so I wonder how they're going to solve that one, but he still has the leather waistcoat, so it's all good and identifiable. But straight away, you're asking the questions, how did he get there, and where's the rest of the gang from The Walking Dead Season 11 where it left off? Guess this show is going to take its time to answer those questions. While he's wandering, trying to survive, he finds a tape in a boat that a family used when they fled the original outbreak years ago, and this is just to let the audience know how bad the infection was and spread was in Europe.
Circle Spain. Nowhere safe. There's got to be a safe place somewhere.
Remember, it's been over 10 years since the infection ravaged this world, so this is just to fill in the blanks for the new or casual viewers. Because a lot of people did give up on the Walking Dead show or tuned in and out depending on the storylines, so not everyone probably made it to the end. While he's looking for supplies, he gets attacked by a bunch of walkers, but these are different to the ones that we've seen before in The Walking Dead. One touch from one of them actually burns his skin, so already this is something new and different to what's going on. Now, they did start to evolve the walkers slightly towards the end of the Walking Dead season, but they didn't give us any real explanation of how this happened or what was causing it. He escapes and he realises that the burn on his arm is pretty serious, as well as the fact that someone's been watching him from a distance. He runs into two local French people, a granddaughter and grandfather, before they're disturbed by two guys who are part of whatever shadowy organisation is running the show around these parts. And remember, this is Europe, not America, so they don't have modern guns. They've got the really old single-shot ones, which I thought was a nice touch. But before the bad guys can be too bad, Daryl dispatches them. And after this happens, it turns out that the granddad isn't as innocent or as blind as he appears to be, as they jump Daryl and try and take his stuff, but are scared off before they can get anywhere. He wakes up in a convent and finds out that there's now different types of walkers, like the one who attacked him that gets referred to as a burner or boiler. And he gets the standard tour of the convent, but has no intention of staying as he wants to get back to the States, because if you remember at the end of The Walking Dead, he went looking for Rick. Now, while this is all going on, there's some creepy young kid watching him, who it turns out seems to be a child genius. When they start talking, he seems to have a great grasp on where the world is and where it was before the fall. So I've got to wonder, is this the entire setup for the show, that this kid is some sort of prodigy or messiah that the world is going to need?
My record is 3 minutes and 12 seconds. Math, problems, science, music, geography.
And the nun in charge wants to give Daryl a mission, as it turns out this kid is special after all.
He's shown abilities, perceptions, compassion beyond any child.
She hands him a drawing that the boy Laurent made, seemingly of Daryl, weeks before he arrived. So is this Laurent some sort of chosen one or prophet?
Ready for what?
To be the new Messiah.
I mean, from the first episode, it certainly seems that they're setting this up, but they've never gone with the whole divine vision or anything in The Walking Dead before, so this is a totally new angle for the show and the franchise. Or is it all just cult nonsense? It's kind of hard to tell at this point, but I don't know if this is something serious that they're trying to do and establish in this world. But of course, in order to navigate Europe, Daryl needs someone who can speak French, and the kid needs to go somewhere, so I guess we've got a TV show plot. The couple that robbed him at the start of the episode run into more of what seems to be the bad guys, who, like a lot of the latest Walking Dead villains, are part of some shady organisation that we don't really know much about yet. And of course, Daryl has killed one of their brothers, so one of them wants revenge. They show up at the convent looking for him just as he leaves to cause some shit. And of course, he comes back just in time to take a few of them out while the rest are brutally murdered by nuns. And that was kind of unexpected. There are bits in this show, I mean, I know The Walking Dead is known for its violence, but it did surprise me a little bit here. So the bad guys are on a mission, the convent is no longer safe, and Daryl is given a literal side quest to complete. As you know, his main one is all about getting back to America. And that's kind of it. We don't really get any backstory yet on the specifics of how he went from the States to France, but I assume that's going to come in flashbacks over the rest of the season. It's probably linked to the Civil Republic or the CRM from the other shows, but at the minute there's too many Walking Dead shows to connect all the dots about what might be happening with who, when, where, why, etc. There is a scene at the end of the episode that lets us know a little bit more about the bad guys and who the new big bad is, and it's another shadowy figure investigating the escape of the prisoners from the boat. Now, what's interesting is they said prisoners, not prisoner, so we don't know if Daryl was alone, i.e., were there other people on the boat that he met that escaped with him, or are there other characters from The Walking Dead that are going to get carried over and show up in this show? Most notably Carol, because originally this was supposed to be a Daryl and Carol show, before people realised that was too hard to say back to back and changed it to just a Daryl Dixon show. But there's definitely something going on here, as the French and the Americans seem to be exchanging prisoners and walkers, so I don't really know what to expect. It's probably got something to do with experimentation, because there have been scenes where we have seen other versions of walkers before, and I guess this is going to fill in the blanks. While this isn't a bad episode of TV, it's not really a great one either. The show might not be able to escape the one that started it all, especially when it's just focusing on one of those main characters and not the rest. If your favourite Walking Dead character isn't in it, would you really watch it? And I know that Daryl Dixon was pretty universally popular throughout the Walking Dead run, but I don't know if the whole stony silence thing can sustain several seasons. Also, after 11 seasons of The Walking Dead and the number of spin offs that we already have from this franchise, what's this show going to bring to the table that's new and fresh other than the location? That's a kind of hard one, because there's hundreds of episodes now exploring this world, the people that live in it, and the lore, so whatever they do, they're going to have to stick to it as well. And the big ask that I can't help but think is, what's it going to do compared to The Last of Us that's going to be different as well? And how is it going to escape those comparisons of a reluctant guy being sent on a quest with a special child? You've got to wonder how it's going to grow beyond this initial plot point as well, because the show does run for several seasons. I can't see it just being this quest to get Laurent where he needs to go. And I think that's probably going to be true in a lot of people's eyes. The Walking Dead is still clearly a popular franchise and must be making money, because they're still spitting out sequels left, right and centre. So although the quality is definitely dwindled, it doesn't appear as if the interest has, at least to the point that it's not profitable anyway. Now, while I wasn't overly jazzed by this show, I'm going to continue watching it to see where it goes. It does seem from the clip that they posted for the rest of the season that they're going to explore some themes that The Walking Dead hasn't really touched on before. And while I think that's interesting and different, I don't think it's going to be different enough to hold everyone's attention. But as always, this is just what I think about the show. I want to know what you guys think. So if you've watched it, let me know in the comments below. And if you've not, let me know why you wouldn't. I can understand why people are tired of this franchise, but as I say, it clearly must still have interest if they're making these shows. And there's still more Walking Dead spin-offs to come, so I don't know if I'm going to cover those, and I might cover the rest of this season. Again, it depends how interesting it's going to be. But as always, if you've made it this far, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it already, and leave a like on the video. I'm going to be doing more live streams, so if you follow the community tab, I'll post when they're going to be up there so you don't miss it. And as always, my name's Al, thanks for watching.